dangerous driver and try to get them out of the way so that they aren't put in harm's way. And so they're doing their best in this situation to go over those speed bumps even at a high rate of speed. And you just wonder, how much can this vehicle handle? It's been going over speed bumps at about 30 miles an hour, cutting corners, hitting curbs, things like that. Very, very hard on a daily commuter vehicle like this, on any vehicle at this speed actually. But at this point, we don't see any sign of this car slowing down anytime soon. And those police officers are still right behind, and their vehicles are a lot stronger, more well-equipped for the high strain that a pursuit can put on a vehicle. Now northbound on Alameda, and we're just going to stay to the north a little bit, follow it up here. You can see the train tracks there, and that just goes to down to the south to the harbor, but that's also a concern. Suspect loses control, goes over the fence there and into the train tracks, and we have a whole other set of instances or situations. So the officers are very cognizant of that. You can see it looks like they've backed off quite a bit, or they just got a little far behind. You saw only that one unit back there, but maybe they're taking a different tactic now as we get into over an hour now over this pursuit. You see other officers in the area here and ready to help if they are called on, and just through that dip there.
This is the best chance for the car to lose them.
Back on Randolph, this is where the suspect was going the wrong way just moments ago, and slowing down.
If he wants to lose them, he's got to do it quick.
Here on Santa Fe, and it looks like we're going northbound Santa Fe, wrong side
Well,
of
they
the
only
road
got
again.
one car behind
so
them.
There's absolutely no reason for this right now. There's no officers behind, and so just very, very erratic, dangerous driving. And so you wonder, like you're saying, Micah, earlier, is there any sort of impairments or other things that the officers have to worry about? Red light there, and to the east we go on Slauson, and just circling the areas down here. We've been on Slauson multiple times before, and in the Huntington Park area for quite a bit of time. Headlights back on, up into this red light, through that red light there. Luckily, just missing that cross traffic and that traffic waiting for him. And that's something as drivers we forget about. We take for granted these time signals and these lights, and expect those drivers to stop when they have the red light, but it's always worth a second check and holding off just a second longer to look both ways before you're going through an intersection, because it's just like in this situation, you might have a blacked out vehicle involved in a pursuit coming through at a high rate of speed that could hit you. So luckily the drivers on the road tonight being very safe and very cognizant of their surroundings, both at intersections and getting out of the way of the law enforcement when they were on the tail of this pursuit. But we don't even see that night sun anymore. No officers in sight, but there is an area that's still tracking, headlights still on and off. But this pursuit now on Pacific through Fruitland now, back in the Vernon area, which we saw once an hour ago.
Well, and you watch a pursuit by a single agency for an hour or more, and you get a real good idea of their tactics and policies. Bell PD has been nothing but patient throughout this, letting the suspect dictate the terms. They have not tried anything in an offensive nature, no pit maneuver attempts, nothing. They've just been content to stay behind this vehicle, and it appears now, for the first time in the hour that we've been watching this, that they've actually dropped back. Keep in mind the sheriff's department is overhead in a helicopter. Perhaps they know who this suspect is and know how to find him.
Guess this is what happens when you cut the police budget.
For the first time here, and as we pull out to
You
a
get
wider
longer
shot,
police pursuits.
You'll see that there's really nobody behind him, at least not in
This
the
is the longest police pursuit that I've seen on TV.
They backed off completely.
The ground units have backed off. We just saw there around that turn that there was a unit sitting in a parking lot. Sure, very aware of the situation going on. But even though there aren't ground units on the ground behind the vehicle, that doesn't mean they're not in the air. We don't see that night sun, but this vehicle is still being tracked from the air. And it's just a change of tactic, like we were talking about, Micah. The officers on the ground are using a different tactic, seeing if the driver might drive a little safer, maybe pull over, get out of the vehicle, do something like that if they back off. But we've still seen the suspect run red lights. You can see those birds flying through the shot. I apologize about that. They'll be out of the way in a
Those birds.
second. But the suspect is still driving very erratically, very dangerously, even without the officers right behind.
Now they got the birds on
That
them.
just kind of shows you that
Alfred Hitchcock birds to the
that
rescue.
driving isn't motivated by those officers being behind the vehicle.
Wow, it's a lot of
driving
birds.
is solely to get away. The suspect has some worry and some reason that they are stressing enough to drive erratically and put others in danger to try to get away, even though there's no sign of officers in this pursuit any
We're
longer.
gonna take a
As soon as we
sandwich
slow down
break.
quite a bit, though, on these larger,
See what happens later.
intersection, we'll see what happens. It looks like they're kind of just trying to see if anyone was behind them, maybe looking out the window, see if that air unit was overhead. But there's not one, but there's also the media overhead as well, which doesn't help in the situation in terms of him getting away. Blacked out once again. You must have saw that air unit overhead or that unit behind, and now it kind of continues speeding up a bit. Blacked out, very, very dangerous here at about District Boulevard here in Vernon, and it looks like they're going to be going back to the west. And
He's in Nowheresville. I've been there.
And it seems like we're kind of happy in the
I've
area
been
of
there,
Vernon,
Nowheresville.
or the suspect is at least.
He's on
And so this
Bandini
might be
Road.
An area that they're comfortable with, and so that's all information that those watch commanders, those officers on the ground and in the air are keeping track of to try to see if they can predict the best way to bring this to a successful and safe conclusion.
Yeah, there's got to be some degree of familiarity with this area for this driver. We see it often, and it sort of allows officers to sort of develop and understand a pattern. And that we hadn't seen for the first 30, 40 minutes until this driver left the area and then came back to the area. And you're wondering, I'm wondering out loud, what the Bell Police Department's strategy is here. They follow this car with lights and sirens at high speeds on surface streets for the better part of an hour.
This is a
only
new
to drop
America.
back and virtually
No
stop
police
chasing
budgets.
him. You've got an officer that is then
No
behind
gas
him
in
with
the
no lights
cars.
on. And you wonder what the strategy is by that police department. I'd love to know. And if somehow they think
Everybody's
this is
resigning
more
left and
effective.
right. There's
There
a
you
cop
see
car to the
again
side.
The screenshot there, the sheriff's department helicopter keeping an eye on this suspect. They're not going to lose sight of him. And there you have Bell PD again. Now the lights are back on. So trying to understand what they're doing, maybe we'll come to understand in the days ahead. But at this point, we're seeing it play out in real time and a sort of strategy that I don't remember seeing.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's tough for us up here in Skyline.
It's a new strategy
Usually we
called
hear a lot of the agencies and kind of hear
being
their
broke.
tactics and get that a little glimpse into
No
the mind of
police
what's going
funding.
on, but
For pedestrian public is minimal at best, and you have a very dangerous situation where this driver's moving at high speeds for an extended period of time. So the opportunity has presented itself on many different occasions. They are choosing not to do it. They're choosing to be patient and let the driver dictate and just wait it out and hope that the driver thinks better of the situation and pulls over or runs out of gas. There's very few things that can happen at this point other than those two without running into something. But again, very few people on the road at this time of night and not extremely high rates of speed. So this could go on conceivably for some time.
I might go share something we haven't talked about for a bit, but one of the other reasons they might be avoiding a pit maneuver is the worry of the weapon. The suspect, it's been confirmed that the suspect did throw one weapon out of the vehicle, and in a pit maneuver, it puts those officers into a more dangerous situation because when that vehicle is spun out of control and disabled, now typically that vehicle is facing the officers, and if there are any other weapons inside the vehicle, now that's a concern. So that might be one of the reasons as well why we're not seeing that pit maneuver. But now wrong way here on Slauson through Templeton. We've been there here at least twice in this pursuit. Absolutely no reason to be going wrong way on the road. And no vehicles behind, no traffic to slow down for or anything like that. And so this is just a driver taking advantage of a situation and driving recklessly. And so there's just so many different elements to this, so many things we don't know. but I'm sure we'll find out in the time to come as this pursuit continues. But air unit still overhead. You kind of see that night sun going through your shot there just for a second, but they're still calling this out, and it looks like we're turning into an alley now, so we'll see what happens here. But this starts to seem like the prime opportunity for the suspect to try to find a spot to get out and ditch the car, which hasn't been the case so far, but with the speeds and the way the driver's driving, that might be the case. Now we're into a shopping center here. We'll see what
Take a
happens when we
break,
come
take
out
some
here
coffee.
onto,
Probably what the cops are doing right now.
Multiple times before. This is that one-way street we saw the suspect going the wrong way on earlier, right along the railroad tracks, and through Randolph, over the railroad tracks, and it looks like we're back wrong way, and
Back on the wrong side of the road.
for this, very dangerous, and hopefully this comes to a peaceful end here shortly.
That's like
now we're coming up on an area where there are a lot of people outside, businesses
metaphor
open,
for his life.
So luckily we're moving out of that area now, but
He's on the wrong side.
On
still
a
the wrong
one-way.
way, still very dangerous. Not what people
He
are
needs a
expecting.
coming to
Luckily,
Jesus
the headlights
moment.
are on. Last time they were going the wrong way, there weren't headlights, and that's a concern. But there you go. People
Well, I guess when he's in the
are
pen,
and there's just a pursuit going by.
there's a lot of
Speed
Bibles.
has slowed down quite a bit, which
Hopefully
is
there's a
good,
Bible
and
study
that
or
might be
two.
part of that tactic that those officers are using by backing off. We're seeing that work to the advantage of keeping the
But there's
public
no
safe.
future in this
But the
carjacking,
suspect
police
will be taken
pursuit,
into custody. That area is
whatever
still
the heck
going
he's
out
got going
overhead,
on.
for those officers on the ground.
Definitely
Making sure that
no
they're still
future in
here.
that.
He's zigzagging through these areas again, but it's still so hard to predict. It's not like he's going around the block and around 3 blocks or so. It's quite a wide circle that he's
Reminds me of
making,
a
but
movie I
nonetheless
watched
still
on the
making,
TCM called
turns on some of the same streets.
Gun
So
Crazy.
you would think that it's a bit hard to plan a spike strip for something like this.
Exactly, and
What a
that's one of the problems with the
guy and
the
a
zigzag,
gal
those more unpredictable
were good with
surfaces
guns.
and streets is the suspect was circling one specific
The only
block or
job
one
they could
specific,
think of
like,
was
square mile.
stick-up jobs.
The officers could position themselves and try to pit maneuver, or not a pit maneuver, a spike strip, or even on the freeway they could try to.
Some people feel like that's the only thing they can do.
For the whole entire pursuit, but with this situation, it's just very hard to predict and get those officers ahead to do those spike strips. We've seen a few officers in the area hiding on different corners, keeping an eye out. Unsure if they're
Get used to this now that we got Joe Biden as
quote-unquote
quote-unquote president.
Their nose out there into that intersection. Very
There's gonna be a lot more of these police pursuits.
But just waiting for that traffic to
Crazy
cross,
things going
there's that
on.
red light there, and now we're back on Santa Fe, going to the south, and just kind of zigzagging our way through Huntington Park. There are
Once again, this is Al
areas-
Olmos.
there's
I'm watching this
a few,
police
not
pursuit
the
right
too
now.
wide, but there are a few in the wider area of this.
One of the only forms of entertainment here in California.
The sheriff's unit is still overhead as well. But at this point, it seems like because the pit maneuver is not authorized and spike strips aren't working, it's just more of a waiting game to see if
This is the
suspect
longest
goes over,
police pursuit ever.
surrenders at some point. Because, like Mike, you were saying earlier, pit maneuver is very ideal in this situation with the wide open streets as well as the speed. There are very specific speed guidelines on when and how to do a pit maneuver, and this does qualify in that area. It just doesn't seem like it's on the table right now. Now we're speeding back up about 60 miles an hour on this surface street in Florence.
I hope Eric Garcetti's watching
And,
this.
that's just a different maneuver. We're not sure if the suspect was maybe
Knowing that it's his policies
or just an open stretch of roadway
that are
but 30-mile-an-hour roadway
causing these long police pursuits,
slowing back down now to about 35 or so.
putting
So
people in danger.
very erratic, very confusing in terms of
Somebody was saying on TV it's
there's no
basically brown and black people
we're going to go high rates of speed for the whole pursuit.
who are in
We're gonna
danger the
slow down,
most,
and it's just back and forth,
who need
back and
policing
forth
the
as
most.
The suspect continues through these residential areas.
So really
Down
it's
the area of
a
Pullman
racist
Park,
policy when you think about it,
bit more,
against brown and black
to the
people.
south, than we've been before, but still a very
Maybe he'll change his mind
for the
about
most part
that.
for the suspect, but still running stop signs like you just saw there.
Let's
We
add
can
one
only
more
hope.
to the list list here then, right? So started in Bell, a little
Someone needs to
after
write
10 o'clock.
a letter,
Then went
call
through
down to
Vernon,
Garcetti's office.
Vernon, Huntington Park, we've been in for quite some time, even made it through East Los Angeles and now Walnut Park. Again, the suspect did discard a gun from this vehicle early on in the pursuit.
Saying he
That
threw
was
out a gun.
confirmed, by authorities. We do have the sheriff's
I think the
department
only chance
airship
is
overhead
that he runs out of
tracking this
gas.
vehicle, and Bell,
Let's hope we got enough police on him.
PD as well in pursuit, but it seems that they have backed off now, but they were in pursuit of this vehicle, possibly a
Gonna have to
Malibu,
follow this on the other
Chevy,
side.
we believe, a Chevy nonetheless from the logo, as it's been
To be
making its way
continued.
around